Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video regarding cube cards that have nicknames. You may see some cards in this list that normally wouldn't be associated with cube, but my cube's a little different than some others. It's kind of big. I'm right around 600 cards, so you may see some things you don't normally see. Anyway, without further ado, nicknamed cube cards. Let's start with blue. We've got Convertible Turtle. Pretty obvious reasons why that would be a convertible turtle. Miss Cow. Never say the full name on that one. Tomato. Sometimes Tomato the Moon Sage. Baby Jace. Jace the Car Payment or Jace the Money Bags. A naughty one. Deep Anal. Ugh. Here we got green, starting off, Tarmogoat, or Tarmo, the guy that really isn't that great in cube, but we keep him around anyway. Sex Monkeys. That's why. If you see in the background picture, it's been Sex Monkeys forever. Thank you, Anthony Albatolo, for Turn to Log, Song of the Dryads. We used to call this guy Ancestral, the Green Ancestral. He's really not Ancestral Recall, although he does draw you 3 cards, and in green back then before Harmonize, this was the best you got. Still a great card. Scoos, although some people call him Scavenging for Poo. No one calls him that, by the way. Secure Tribalder is known as Steve. Nasty Terrasty for Terastodon, and yes, he is quite nasty. Bop, Bird of Paradise, sometimes called Mana Birds. You got Prime Time, of course. And Slime Time, also very good. And based off the character from the movie Half Baked, you got Squirrel Master, played by Mr. Tommy Chong, if I remember correctly. Now there's only one red card, Master P, as he's affectionately known for Young Pyromaster. Great card, not so great a rapper, in my opinion. O-Ring. Never called this Oblivion Ring. From day one, it's been O-Ring. Now here we have Mom, or Mommy, and Mother of Runes. Also of note, Mind Over Matter from back in the day was called Mom, but no one remembers that except old farts. Here we got Ishmaru, Hound of Konda. We just call him Dog or Doggy. Lady Gaga. Why? Well, just look up any video with Lady Gaga in it. You're bound to see an outfit very similar to that. Now in black, let's start it off with one that some people don't run. You got Obnixilis the Fallen and Obnixilis the Black Oath. We just call him Obnoxious. Now, both versions have been running really good in my cube. A lot of people are kind of down on both versions. I like him. Everyone seems to like him. He's highly drafted. Grave Titan, known as Gravy Train, because he's got a train of zombies that comes after him. Hypnotic Spectre, probably on the way out of the cube, but always will be Hippie. Dark Ritual Hippie, anyone? Grizzle Bro, or Big Grizz, or Big Grizzly. Artifacts, we got Battle Ball and Mere Battle Sphere. Here we have Trike for Triskelion. Stacks for Smokestacks, can also be used to refer to Braid's Cabal minion. Now you've got Porcelain Legionnaire here, known as Mr. Toilet. Funny story though, Mr. Toilet, also anagram for an old card, Telemtor. They originally called him Mr. Toilet, evidently, and then of course had to rename him because you can't release a magic card outside of an unglued set called Mr. Toilet, and it can only be assumed that it was so bad that that's why he had that nickname, but they switched the letters around and came up with Telemtor. Here we have Nevinral's disc, which is Larry Nevin's disc, spelled backwards. Larry Nevin was a author. He wrote the Ringworld series. I've read a couple. They're not bad. Sci-fi fantasy type stuff from the 60s, 70s, I think. Starting out with gold, we've got Voice of Resurgence, or Jägermeister. If you don't know why, you probably aren't an alcoholic. A Johnny Vengeant, or Angry Johnny. Johnny, Angry Johnny. Doran, the Siege Tower, or Dora the Explorer. Probably also on the way out of cube soon, but I love me some Doran the Siege Tower. Here we've got a Lightning Cow. Great card. Broodmate Dragon, or Double Dragon, Why wouldn't you call this Double Dragon? That is a great nickname. Obzadad for Obzadat Ghost Council, based off a deck back in the day that ran a similar card called Ghost Dad, back when decks had cool names. Here you have Lady Boner or Olive Garden for Olivia Voldaren. I prefer Olive Garden. Here you got Johnny Two Bolts in Ral Zarek. This is because typically he comes down, bolts something, and then the next turn he bolts something again and goes away, which is fine. Fulminator Mage is Fulmy. Now, last but not least, lands. For some reason, when I was a kid, I didn't realize that that was a tree in the picture. This is the spring photo. There's also a more well-known fall that was reprinted in 4th edition, and the coveted winter and the not-so-coveted summer that looks very similar to this. They were all done by the Folagos, and as a kid, we called them twigs. I didn't know till years later why everyone called them twigs. Well, it's because that is a tree in that picture. Pretty obvious now. Don't know why I didn't get it as a kid. Whatever. Dude Ranch. This was a popular card. I still run it in Cube. I still love it. Make a dude at the end of your turn. Make a dude at the end of your turn. Common phrase heard when that was played. Some people call this cob or corn on the cob because of the COB. I just call it City of Brass. But that leads me to some honorable mentions here. Cards like Flame Tongue Kavu, Sword to Plowshares, Day of Judgment, just FTK, STP, DOJ. There's a bunch of these kind of cards in Cube and elsewhere where we just kind of abbreviate the initials there and get the nickname that way. Now, cards like this are affectionately known as Edict because, well, these two are actually named something something Edict, but there's a lot of cards that do this. There's a way on this. Liliana the Veil in Cube can cause you to edict someone. There are cards like Innocent Blood, etc. that do that, and they're all just affectionately known as edicts for short. Let's see, we've got Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Searing Spear, Lightning Strike, Incinerate. All these cards are basically just called Bolt when you're referring to someone casting a cheaply cost spell at your face for 3 damage. He bolted me, you know. Here are your Mana Dorks, although this particular Mana Dork has a nickname of in himself, Lawnmower Elf. But basically, if you're playing a 1-drop that produces mana, and yes, this does include Bird of Paradise as well, they're known as a Mana Dork. Alright, and the player's cards. Some people call this Tess, I'm told, I've never heard it. Everyone calls this Sad Robot. I call it Paranoid Android because I love me some Radiohead. Here we have Johnny, or Finkel, Shadow Mage Infiltrator. It's his card. John Finkel, of course. Darwin. Everyone calls this Darwin that I know of. It's Darwin Castle's card. Great card, Avalanche Rider. Bob. Does anyone ever call this Dark Confident? No, this is Bob. He was nice enough to sign mine. Good guy, Bob. And this one has a few different nicknames. I call it Snappy. Some people call it by the comedian's name that played a role in the movie The Hangover, because he looks an awful lot like that. I don't know the player that actually made this card. I'm sad to say, but yeah, we just call him Snappy in my cube. Anyway, that's it. I appreciate you watching my video, and we'll see you next time.